Welcome to the Mindset Mechanics Podcast with Juan and Ladybug Jenkins. It's not too late to find, face, and fix what's stalling you. The shop is open, so pull on in.
Welcome to Mechanical Monday. You are in the shop. I am Ladybug Jenkins, your mindset mechanic, reminding you that it is not too late to find, face, and fix what's stalling you. And when you do that, you can accelerate into the life of your dreams. In today's episode titled Yield, we are going to discuss the importance of mentorship and how it affects our success. So obviously we are familiar with the yield signs that we see when we're out driving. Here in Florida, I don't know how it is where you reside, but we have lots of roundabouts and four-way stops. And so the yield sign is very important. It shows you who has the right of way, and ultimately it prevents crashes. But in our definition, as we are talking about mentors, yield is defined as giving way to arguments, demands, or pressure. So let's talk about what that looks like in real life. Now, obviously, when you have a mentor, well, they should not be arguing, demanding, or pressuring you. If you have a legitimate, positive mentor-mentee relationship. But oftentimes we can find ourselves in positions if we are students, if we are subordinates on a job, we are assigned a mentor. This is not someone that we sought out on our own. They have been given to us, even if you're in situations where you're younger. If you remember the Girl Scouts, the Boy Scouts, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, 4-H, all of that good stuff. You were assigned mentors. You were assigned people that were there to teach you, to help you grow, to help you learn, to help you put into practice, to apply the things that you were supposed to be taught. And so in this instance, as a mentee, you would absolutely have to give way. If there was a situation where you were in disagreement with that person, if you felt like they were pressuring you or they were putting too many demands on you, you would absolutely be in a situation where you would be expected to yield to that person because they are in authority over you. And as we become older, that often takes the form of something that you will see in the workplace. And in my case, in school, because my chosen field was nursing. Nursing is not something you can read about in a book and then you just jump out there with people's lives. You know, you can absolutely kill someone if you do that. So you would often be assigned a mentor. It would be a charge nurse. They would call it a preceptor. But at the end of the day, this is someone older, usually. This is someone definitely with more experience who is doing the thing well that you would like to do. Now, I have heard stories, but in my experience, if you were allowed to precept, if you were allowed to mentor new nurses, it was because, yes, you had a lot of book knowledge, but you had actually done the job and you had a reputation in your facility, your background, your environment to do that job well. You were proficient. You were very good. People came to you for advice. And so this episode is going to be a little different because I am going to spend a lot of time in my rearview mirror on this one, which is where we take the power of hindsight and we kind of unpack and dissect the topic, the lessons that we want to learn. So for this particular topic, I am going to jump straight into rearview and hindsight early on. And it's largely due to maturity and looking back over my life. And when you talk about mentorship, when you talk about your teachers, when you talk about, and I don't just mean in an academic setting, people who teach you things about life, about relationships, about your job, about finances, about health. Anyone who leads you and guides you can be considered a mentor. And at my big age, I have lots of mentors, and I did not realize that until I actually sat down and took a look back over my life. There is more than one definition of yield. So I talked about the first definition, which is about giving way. Another word is submit. Submit is an excellent, a synonym for the word yield when we are talking about, mentor and mentee. So another definition is as a noun, an experienced and trusted advisor, which is what I talked about when you're training in a field that requires hands-on learning after you have graduated or gotten to a certain point in your training program. So, we are going to talk about the definition of mentor as part of my rear view and hindsight. And I found this really, really interesting. So, when you talk about a mentor as a noun, it is an experienced and trusted advisor. But as a verb, it is to advise or train. So, it's not just what the person is, it's also what they do. And I think that goes a long way to describe what the best mentors are like. These are not the people who are on their job and their boss comes in and says, "Look, you have a trainee today. Look, we're doing a mentorship program to try and cultivate some leaders from within the company, and you have been assigned to mentor these people." So these are not people, the best ones are not the ones that go kicking and screaming, that sort of thing. While they can still impart knowledge, if they have the knowledge, if they have the skills, if they do a good job, they can still teach you those things, but their heart is not in it. Those best mentors, those who have a heart for people, they want to see people grow. Those are the people who will watch you. They will see where your weaknesses are. They can see where you need to be shored up. They will give you assignments and things to study that will help you grow. But that comes from someone who is doing it from the heart. So it's not so much about the title, because you have lots of people who mentor and they do it really well and they never have the title. They never get the recognition. And then you have others who have that title, but they do the bare minimum. If you've ever been on a job and they give you that dreaded checklist, and basically it's saying, after you're able to perform all of these duties or all of these tasks without anyone supervising you, without someone telling you all of the steps, then you can check these off and we will consider you trained. I'm not talking about the person that treats you like a checklist. I am talking about that person that takes you under their wing and they are themselves thrilled when they can push you out and watch you soar. And there are many people like that who never have a title, who never do that thing officially, but they have a heart for it. It is God's gift working through them and they do it well. And then unfortunately, you have people who have the title, they have droves of people sent to them because of the position that they're in, and they actually don't do a good job. They either treat it like a checkoff or they give you some rubber stamp of their signature because they know, oh, if you've trained under so-and-so, then that is going to open doors and give you access in, other places, but they never truly invest in you. They are not personally invested in your doing well. They want to collect a fee. They want to grow their social media following. They want lots of people in the picture that they take at their conference. And that is really the extent of it. And then in some arenas, you will even find out later that not only were they not truly mentoring the people under them, that there were abuses, financial abuses, verbal, psychological. You see a lot of this in the arts. You see this, unfortunately, you do in medicine and in nursing. There's lots of verbal abuse, psychological abuse. There was, a lot of that in the military that my father went through. And unfortunately, even in religious spaces, you had all of these huge lawsuits with the Catholic Church. So people that were supposed to be training and loving and mentoring, unfortunately, even children, there was a lot of abuse of every kind going on. And so I want to talk to the mentee for a moment. And this is mainly adults. Well, I can say from experience, also teenagers. Pride can kill mentorship opportunities. You can have the best mentor in the world. If you are walking in pride, if you are someone that's always finishing the teacher's sentences, if you're always adding on to everything they say, if you have this pride, this arrogance, yeah, I know that, and you're constantly, pushing on them like, yeah, give me the next thing, tell me something I don't know. If that is your attitude, you're not going to do well. You can have the best guitar player in the world. Carlos Santana can be your guitar instructor, but if you are arrogant, if you cannot listen, if you think I am almost as good as him or I'll be as good as him in a little while, you're not going to excel. You're not going to do well. That person is in that position for a reason. And yes, while their heart may not be in it, and sometimes you will find yourself in that situation, it doesn't mean they don't have anything to impart. I cannot tell you how much I have learned just by sitting and watching with my eyes open and my mouth shut. And I was also astonished by how many classmates I had, how many classmates we would move into clinical rotations. And because they read the nursing texts, they felt like they could teach the teachers. They felt like they could tell the nurses that had been on the floor for years, yeah, well, I'm young and I have a fresh set of eyes, so I see this and I see that, and you're doing that wrong, you're doing that wrong. But then you fast forward 2 years, you're out of school and you're actually working with patients, you're working with deadlines, and you find out why they did things the way that they did them. No, it didn't match the textbook verbatim, but if they did that, you would never finish on time. You would lose your job because you never got anything done, and your patients would start complaining about you because you weren't getting to them quickly enough, or you were not managing everything on your plate well. So while the mentor may not have the best attitude, you can. Your pride will kill your mentorship. And the second thing that will kill mentorship, you can die before you even get out of the gate, because oftentimes people have a tendency to desire friendship over mentorship. You are looking to partner with someone that you like. You want to be mentored by someone who is great in their field, but they happen to think like you and believe like you and move like you, and you will kill the opportunity to work with someone that can help you accelerate because you desire friendship over mentorship. So those two things, good people, pride and desiring a friendship, a personal, close relationship with someone over your goal, which should be to come alongside that person, look, listen, learn, grow, and accelerate into your own assignment, into your own next season. And that is actually a third thing, staying in a place too long. The Lord can send you to a mentor, and it is for that time. It's not for a lifetime. Sometimes it is just until your faith is increased. And sometimes it is so that you can learn how to be mentored by someone that doesn't even like you. They don't even care for you. They don't care if you succeed. They don't care if you live or die. But the Lord needs for you to learn how to deal with all kinds, so that when he puts you in that next space, when he elevates you, you will know how to swim with those sharks without being taken out. Mentorship is not about friendship. So staying in a place too long. So lastly, and interestingly, yield is also defined as producing or providing a product, such as a crop. So when you yield, you produce a yield yourself. You produce fruit. You become smarter, faster, stronger, more proficient. And then that allows you to pour into something else. And that is something else we have to be careful of with mentorship. You should never just be taking, and receiving, and you're growing and you're getting taller, stronger, fatter, as it were, in this thing, and you are not sharing anything with anyone else. And you see other people as competition. And no one can compete with you being you. As long as you are your authentic self, no one can compete with you, because no one will do that thing the way you do, even if you're doing the same thing at the same time in the same space. If you've ever watched any of the videos online and you'll see a group of people dancing, maybe they're auditioning. They're in the same room, they're in one line, they're often dressed the same because there's requirements. The same music is playing and they are doing the identical choreography, but you will be staring at that one girl on the left-hand side because she's doing the same thing at the same time to the same music. And yet, what she has inside of her causes that thing to pop and to stand out, and you are looking at her. And that is why you don't need to compete with anyone, because no one can compete with you because they're not you. And so that wasn't in my notes, but I wanted to add that in. Proverbs 11:14 says, where there is no guidance, a people falls, but in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. You should have mentors. You should have advisors, more than just one. There's nothing wrong with good advice. Sometimes the best plan comes from your aunt, your sister, and your grandmother. And part of what these three people told you, put together and blended up, that gives you your best course of action. That gives you your best plan. So don't be afraid to have more than one mentor, more than one advisor. Because where there is no guidance, a people falls. But in an abundance of counselors, there is safety. It will keep you safe. It will keep you on the straight and narrow. It will keep you from making mistakes because those mentors have already made them. So there is no reason for you to make them too. But in order to benefit from that, you have to listen. You have to be humble. You have to pay attention. And you cannot be looking for besties. You have to be looking for your best, for you to be better. This is not about friendship. It's about mentorship. So I thank you for stopping by the shop. I trust you will allow it to help. And I am Ladybug Jenkins, reminding you that it is not too late to find, face, and fix what is stalling you so that you can accelerate into the life of your dreams. Amen.
Thanks for stopping by the shop. Tune in next Mechanical Monday so you can get the tools to find, face, and fix your mindset and accelerate your life.